This man's name is William Tompkins. The American media claim that he was one of the most classified scientists in the United States. Tompkins designed first the sea, and then the spaceships at the Douglas Company. This firm implemented large orders of the Pentagon. Tompkins made a shocking statement. "I was the chief, the Apollo program engineer at the main center. All this work was done at the Douglas firm, where I worked with aliens. That was 4 to 7 years before NASA came along." After the publication of this video on the internet, a real hunt began for the veteran of the American defense industry. Journalists demanded details. The former designer said that he was not afraid of anything and was ready to tell everything about the role of alien intelligence in the secret space program. 2 years before the sensational interview, he wrote a book where he spoke in detail about his collaboration with alien civilizations. In his interviews, Tompkins claimed that during the Second World War, the Nazis received technologies from aliens, thanks to which they were able to build huge underground factories on the mainland of Antarctica. Tens of thousands of workers were taken there. These factories produced flying saucers. In Germany, these technologies were transferred by the reptilian dragon civilization. They built spaceships in Germany during the war in hundreds of underground factories. They trained the Germans, gave them real flying saucers. The plan was to eliminate people all over the earth. A month after the press conference, which literally shocked the world's media, 94-year-old William Tompkins died. All his statements, at first glance, look like the plot of a fantastic movie. It is simply impossible to imagine that such incredible events could actually happen. But there are several facts that suggest that the ice of Antarctica is hiding some terrible secret from us. Let's recall the diary of the American Admiral Richard Byrd. In 1947, he, along with a squadron of 13 warships, went to the ice continent. The reason for the expedition was the documents found in the secret archive of the General Staff of the Nazi Navy. According to them, since 1938, under the ice of Antarctica, the Germans have been developing a new land. It was called Schwabe. To deliver cargo to the new underground Berlin, a huge transport ship was built by Noah Schwabe. Dozens of submarines were involved in the operation. Hitler's secret order ordered that specialists be selected and sent to the development of a secret base without the right to return to the mainland. The order, sent personally into the hands of the captains of the Führer's special convoy, said literally the following: "When passing inside the grotto, both aerial and underwater objects may appear. It is forbidden to fire at these objects. It is known for certain that after the war, the Americans landed in Antarctica and began building an airfield. But instead of 6 months, the expedition lasted only a couple of weeks." Admiral Byrd did not take seriously the warnings about a possible UFO encounter. When the mysterious objects appeared in the sky, the military opened fire on them. As a result, a submarine and several escort ships were sunk, and half of the planes were shot down. And the aircraft carriers Carey and Pine Island were forced to leave. And one more fact. After Byrd's return to the United States and his report in Washington, all the journals, expeditions and personal diaries of the Rear Admiral were seized and classified. By that time, most of the fascist developments and the German scientists themselves were in the United States. It is almost impossible to believe in such a thing, but if there is some truth in Tompkins' words, it turns out that the Americans still managed to negotiate with the aliens. From the late 40s, the secret bases of fascists in Antarctica came under the control of the United States. 3 aliens landed in Las Vegas. We spent 2 weeks there with them, and then moved to Douglas. One of the girls was an engine specialist, the other was responsible for contacts with me. And there was a Nordic guy who helped. Thanks to them, the Apollo program began. They talked about how to do everything right. Newspaper publications in America of the late 40s of the last century are full of information about UFO sightings. Please note that Richard Byrd's expedition to Antarctica was hastily curtailed on the 3rd of March, 1947, and articles in the press began to appear already from the middle of May 47. Isn't it an interesting coincidence? Now we have two forces in space that are helping us. This is a reptilian civilization and another from different parts of the galaxy. They are commonly called Nortics. But if there are huge alien bases in Antarctica, then why can't they be seen from satellites or from the International Space Station? The researchers made a shocking assumption. All these objects are hidden from the eyes of ordinary Earthlings in a parallel world, a certain space with a large number of dimensions. From the point of view of science, this shocking hypothesis is not so improbable. Mathematicians and physicists all over the world have been proving the existence of parallel worlds for more than a century. The most convincing examples can be found in the microcosm, when quantum mechanics appeared. The easiest way for a layman unfamiliar with physics to realize this is at a dice game. Throwing them, we never know what number will fall out, although we make the same movements every time. All options have the same chances. When a particular combination of numbers fell out in our world, all other combinations were realized in other parallel worlds. This hypothesis was proposed by the famous American physicist Hugh Everett. Scientists call this the uncertainty principle. Today it is one of the basic laws of quantum physics. Knowledge about the microcosm has already led to the emergence of microprocessors, liquid crystal screens and other wonders of technology. Scientists suggest that there are more dimensions in parallel worlds than in ours. This opens up fantastic prospects. For example, through additional dimensions, you can instantly travel any distance, transmit information faster than the speed of light, hide objects of any size, and even move through time. So far, physicists know such examples only at the level of elementary particles, but it cannot be ruled out that some civilizations are already using all these opportunities. American Corey Goode claims that he is another participant in the secret U.S. space program. According to him, he has been in contact with representatives of the Ashta civilization for several decades. This man claims that he personally visited a secret underground alien base. This shocking hypothesis was put forward by the famous British researcher of Egypt Christopher Dan. He has been studying the Giza pyramid complex for more than 20 years. Being a first-class engineer, he came to the conclusion that the complex of the Egyptian pyramids is a giant electrical structure. If we look at what the ancient Egyptians left behind, I mean documents and tools, then the tools needed to build such structures no longer exist. It's a big mystery. What happened to these tools? Where did they go? We need to reject the idea of simple methods of making artifacts discovered in Egypt, which are described in traditional literature. Christopher analyzed the location of all the corridors, chambers and openings of the Great Pyramid, compared their volumes and sizes. It turned out that the size of the northern mine completely coincides with the wavelength of the hydrogen atom, the main building material in the universe. He has tremendous energy. In the so-called chambers of the Queen, hydrogen was produced. In the chambers of the Pharaoh, this hydrogen passed into a high-energy state, then the corresponding input signal was received through the northern shaft. It could serve as a wonderful waveguide path with the microwave energy of outer space of a certain purity, which constantly enters the Earth. Thus, representatives of some ancient civilization converted the energy of hydrogen into electromagnetic energy. Who were these people? British scientists Robert Buell and Graham Kahn, how they analyzed the mutual arrangement of the pyramids. It turned out that it coincides one by one with the location of the stars in the Orion belt. 12,500 years ago, there is an amazing similarity of those three stars and pyramids becomes just perfect. Absolutely amazing similarity between heaven and earth. At dawn on the day of the vernal equinox in the 10,500th year BC, exactly at this moment the constellation of Leo is located exactly above the Great Sphinx, which of course is a sculpture